Let us co-invent tomorrow instead of worrying about what happened yesterday. A famous quote by Steve Jobs. A very good evening, dear members. It's a great pleasure to meet you all in another CPD event. I'm Mohammed Murshid, Executive Committee member of CA Sri Lanka Kuwait Chapter. On behalf of our chapter, I warmly welcome the members of CA Sri Lanka Kuwait Chapter, CA members from other countries, and all other participants. As you are aware, today's webinar is about business intelligence and financial reporting using Power BI. As for CA members, please mention your membership number in chat box so that you can claim the CPD hours for this event. The financial industry has always been data oriented. Due to the rapid growth in the sheer volumes of data to be analyzed, coupled with the need for automation, customization, and accessibility, an Excel worksheet is often no longer sufficient. It's for this reason that many professionals are turning to business intelligence platforms. This is why we have chosen and organized this topic and provide our members 2 days extended event which will enhance and help their professional activities. Also, I want to mention again that we are going to have an interesting quiz competition by end of tomorrow's session from today's and tomorrow's session, and the winner will be awarded with a 30-hour training program on Power BI for free of charge. In this context, let me introduce our resource person, Mr. Kasun Manchanayake, who is here to provide us a valuable session on BI platform. I would like to extend my special welcome to Kasun Manchanayake. Kasun is the Kasun is the founder of Gulf BI Analytics, a business intelligence consultancy and training business, primarily focused on driving better decision making within the organizations by empowering individuals and teams to transform raw data into unmatched insights using Microsoft's Power BI suite of tools. Also, he is the leader in Sharjah Power BI user group in Microsoft. Kasun has over 8 years of professional experience in training and consultancy. He is a highly motivated corporate trainer with experience in training small and large groups on Microsoft Excel and Power BI. He has proven track records in leveraging educational theories and methodologies to design, develop, and deliver successful training programs and integrate instructional technology to provide on-site virtual training. He is certified data analyst from Microsoft, and also he has a strong history of finance, previously working at WNS Global Services and Philips Lighting Lanka as a financial analyst. He is also a FMBA holder from Corporate Finance Institute in USA. So without taking any further time, I'll hand over the session to Kasun. Kasun, over to you.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much, Murshid. So good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining today. So yeah, so today what we're gonna do is, business intelligence. That is that's the talk of the town, right? So everyone is talking about the BI, the digitalization. So I think this is the very much the topic is very much required in the market. So as a finance professional, so to know the business intelligence, how you can use business intelligence and how you can automate your reporting procedure. So all these things we are trying to cover within these 4 hours. I mean, it's not possible to do all these things within 4 hours, but we'll try to cover as much as possible with during these 4 hours, right? So I'll be doing I will show you how to build a dashboard within Power BI, and we'll see, and at the end of the session, the final hour, we will see how to build a P&L statement also using Power BI. So this is a little bit of a fast-paced session, so whenever you have a question, you can just drop a chat. But anyway, we will be having the Q&A at the end of the session, end of the day, so we'll be having like 10 minutes for that. Okay, so I think without further ado, I will start the presentation from here. Right, Murshid?
Yes, sure, Kasun.
Okay, so I'll just share my screen. Okay, so I'll start the presentation from here. So okay, first of all, I think Murshid gave us a detailed explanation about me. So I'll just do a very a small introduction about our company. So we, Gulf Bay Analytics, we are a team of professionals who are dedicated to provide business analytical solutions using Power BI. Okay, and we provide trainings and workshops from basics to advanced in Power BI, also the Microsoft Excel trainings and Power BI analytical solutions, and as well as Power BI as a service. So you can take Power BI as a service with a monthly fee from us. Okay, we have a team of professionals who are experienced in SQL Server, Power BI, the Power Platform, and everything. So as a team, we provide the services mainly in UA, and with the COVID, now we can work virtually, so we can wherever you are in the world doesn't matter. So we can connect and we can do our business as well. Okay, so first of all, yeah, before moving to the agenda, I would like to have a small poll. Right, Murshid, shall we just run our first poll?
Yes, we
Yeah,
should be. Yeah, yeah. There you go.
yeah. We just want to know what is your current knowledge in Power BI. So we have a few answers. So take your time. Just now, someone never heard of Power BI. Okay, I think it's all done, right? So okay. So there are some intermediate users as well, and someone never used Power BI, and someone heard of it but never used. Okay, no experts. Okay, so we have mix of people who have used Power BI and who have not used. Okay, so shall we end the poll?
Yes, Tisara.
Yes, poll is closed.
Okay, okay, okay. Then we'll move on to the today's agenda. So yes, first of all, I will introduce what is Power BI. If you don't know anything about Power BI, I'll do a small introduction to Power BI. Then we will see with how we can get some data into the Power BI and what is the data model in Power BI, the data visualizations, and then finally we will be building one dashboard using Power BI, and then also we will be creating a P&L statement as well using Power BI, and then finally we can have the Q&A. So before moving forward, I just want to share my screen on the final product. Okay, so at the end of this session, so you will be able to design this dashboard. This is actually not the financial reporting one. So there are two parts. So this is the basic dashboard that we are going to build. So where you can select different manufacturers and years you can select, and accordingly you can analyze your data. So you will be learning how to build this dashboard, and like year by year you can add this play axis and you can play your results. And also I will move to the other report as well. And here we have a country wise analysis, and we have a scatter plot chart which you can run year by year, and you can see the animated results and some growth analysis and some information. Okay, so this is the end output, one end output, and the other one is the financial reporting one, which I will show you at the end. Okay, so I'll just jump back to my presentation. Okay, then okay, so this is the final output that you are getting at the end of this training. And about me, I think already Murshid has done this explanation. Okay, so I'll skip that. Okay, then what is Power BI? Okay, Power BI is a free tool from Microsoft. Okay, you don't need to pay anything to get Power BI. You can simply go to Microsoft website. You can just Google Microsoft Power BI desktop version and you can download it and you can install it in your computer. With Power BI, guys, what you can do is you can connect to the data that you already have in your, maybe it's in Excel file, or maybe in a SQL Server, maybe Oracle, maybe SAP, or any other system. So what Power BI will do is Power BI will allow you to connect to these places and bring the data into your software, Power BI software. Okay. Power BI is a reporting tool, and BI means business intelligence. Okay. So you might think, okay, we have Excel, we have Power BI. Why we need Power BI? So Power BI is a very amazing tool which you can, because it's mainly a reporting tool. It's not, just like in Excel, you can't enter the data. So what you do is with Power BI, you can connect to the data where you already have. We bring that data, and then inside Power BI, there is something called Power Query. Maybe you have heard of it. Using Power Query, you can transform your data, you can shape your data, you can clean your data, because a lot of time you are getting unorganized data, right? Maybe you are spending a lot of time on reshaping this data, but within Power BI you can completely automate these things. And then we have a data model inside Power BI where you can build a data model, because you are getting data from multiple places, right? You are getting some budget information from Excel sheet, and some transactional data from your ERP system, and another forecast information from another Excel sheet. So when you are getting data from multiple places, you can combine all these things into one place using Power BI data model. Then the most powerful thing, the DAX. Just like in Excel, you have Excel formulas, right? In SQL, you have SQL queries, if you have heard of it. Just like that, in Power BI, there is a formula language called DAX, Data Analysis Expressions. So using DAX, you can do all the calculations. And then once you do the calculations, you can convert them into the visualizations using the Power BI inbuilt visuals. And then finally, there's something called Power BI service, which you can use to publish your report and share it with your colleagues. So that is like a very high level overview, or like the 10,000-foot overview about Power BI. Okay, so I'll jump to the next slide. And these are some of the dashboards that I built. So since you all guys are from finance, so this is a financial reporting dashboard, the second one, which built through the Power BI. And also the third one is also that a financial reporting dashboard that I built for a hotel. And then the fourth one is finance plus some sales analytics. And the final is one some management insight. So all these reporting solutions we have built using Microsoft Power BI. So, but you can get like a app-like experience, like guys. So rather than doing the reporting in Excel worksheet, you can get this all these things within Power BI itself. Okay, then I'll talk about evolution of BI, right? This business intelligence. It was there for a long time. Maybe we don't know, but after the COVID, because companies they are trying to digitalize the operations, so these things now it's people are talking about the data and the analytics a lot. But this BI, or the business intelligence, it was there for a long time, right? So back in the days when you want to get some data or a report, what you did was, maybe as a finance, if you want some data, you have to run to the IT and you have to get the data from them, right? So we had corporate BI teams for to do that. Whenever you need some data to do some analytics, except rather than doing the trial balance and posting the entries, if you want to get some operational data, you have to go to the IT and request that data, right? So then they will issue reports. Sometimes they are just running a query and give you the report, right? Maybe they don't have any idea about that. And the second wave is self-service BI. So self-service BI, sorry, second wave is people who knows about something about the IT, and people who has some background in IT, and they know a little bit about business. So they used to create these reports using those different tools. But the current era is, maybe you guys are from finance, but now you cannot depend on IT, or you cannot depend on business analysts. Now you need to know how you can automate the reporting procedure that you are doing, because 70 to 80% of your time you are spending on the month end works, and that is mainly for the data gathering and preparation of reports, right? You don't have time to analyze your reports, right? It's just 20% of your time. So with these tools, what you can do is you can completely automate your reporting procedure, right? Not only just financials, right? You can do all the other sort of analytics, like as a finance, you are a finance director. If you are the head of finance, not just finance you have to look after, right? You have to look at the operations, all the operations. So all these operations you can automate using the Power BI software. You can build all these report and you can completely automate it, and you can put more controls on the analytics part, maybe inventory control, financial reports, sales analytics. So you can build Power BI dashboards for this, and you can completely automate them, and uh, you can look at those information very easily, and you can make decisions based on that, right? That's what we need, right? The companies nowadays, they are in a digital transformation era. You may have heard that, right? So they are trying to digitalize their operations. So companies also looking for people who has those skills, right? Maybe you are from finance, or you guys are from finance. Not just finance, your core skill, plus you have to have those BI skill as well now. Okay, then, so as an end user, when it comes to the reporting, right? So we need to access the data, right? Sometimes we have to get it from our ERP systems. Sometimes, if it is a inbuilt ERP system, the data that you are getting is not in the proper structure, right? So as an end user, first you have to do is you have to access the data. Then you have to clean it. Then you need to mash up, right? You need to clean because sometimes it's not in the required format that you need, right? And then you have to combine it, you have to mash up, because you have to combine the data that you are getting from multiple places, right? Maybe budget data from one Excel sheet, forecast data from another Excel sheet. Likewise, you have to combine everything. Then, so you have to start analytics, right? And then you can transform whatever the analytics you do to the visualizations, and then you can share it with your others using this, because whatever the analytics you did, you have to share it with your teams, colleagues, right? So I will show you now the Power BI, how you can use Power BI to do all these things. With Power BI, whatever the ERP system that you are using, you can bring the data into Power BI, and you can clean the data using the system called Power Query, and you can build a data model, and you can combine your data, and you can do all sort of analytics. Okay, so finance means just, it's not just the financial reporting, right? You have to do all sort of analytics within finance, right? So all these sort of analytics you can do within this software, and then you can easily convert them into visuals, and you can share it with others using the Power BI service. So that is like how Power BI has addressed all these requirements. I'm running little fast, guys, because I think you guys will get the recording of this session. So because this part I want to run fast, and I want to move on to the hands-on part. Okay, then what are the four main pillars in Power BI? So first of all, we have the Power Query, which will help you to clean your data. And then we have something called data model, which will help you to combine your data, right? So it will allow you to connect all your data into one model within Power BI. And then you have the Power BI desktop, where you can create the calculations and transform it to visualizations. Then you have there's something called Power BI service, which will allow you to create reports and share it with your colleagues or the managements or your staff. Okay, then again, so why you should learn Power BI? Number one reason is you can connect to any source of data. Okay, maybe your data is in Dynamics, Excel, QuickBooks, or SAP, whatever it is. With Power BI, you can get that data from any of these sources, right? So it's these sources are keep growing. QuickBooks, whatever it is, zero. Likewise, you can get the data from these sources. And then there's something called data model. This is the thing that you use to connect the data from multiple sources. And then you can there's something called DAX, right? I told you about that, the formula language. Using the DAX, you can analyze, and you can transform your reports, whatever the report that you are doing. You can very easily convert it to visualizations, and you can get insights from your calculations. And then um, there's something called natural language query, AI, artificial intelligence. This Power BI software, they are using the artificial intelligence as well, right, in order to get insights from your data. So you can use in Power BI, you can run those AI based tools and you can get some insights about your data. And then you can access Power BI from any place as long as you have internet connection, because once you build a report within Power BI, you can put it into something called Power BI service, and from there you can easily access your data. And then finally, you can completely automate whatever you are doing, right? So because you don't need to run this month end report procedure again and again, what you can do is once you run these procedures, you can completely automate it, and you can just press a button and you will get all your PL and all your analytics and all your reports within Power BI. Okay, so I'll skip this part. Okay, then why especially Power BI? Because I think there are tools out there in the market which will do the same thing, but Microsoft Power BI is the number one this business intelligence tool they out there in the market. And also as a finance professional, you can build the customized solutions like P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, all these things within Power BI. And also Power BI is the number one BI tool out there in the market as of now. Okay, then there's something called licenses. Okay, so like when it comes to sharing your reports, you have to get this license, which is a subscription base. You have to pay like $9.99 per month. Okay, so this is required when it comes to sharing, but you can build your report without this license. But when it comes to sharing, you need this. Okay. Yes, so that's pretty much about the introduction. So shall we jump to the our today's session, which is we'll see how we can get some data into Power BI and build some reporting solution. Okay, so okay, maybe okay, I'll open Power BI from here. Maybe you'll have seen Power BI before. If not, I'm just opening the software. Yes, so it is interface is a little bit similar to the Microsoft Office interface, right? So this is the Power BI tool. So this is the desktop version where you can build your report and all these things. Okay. So I will do a small introduction about the software interface. Okay. So here there is something called fields when you get the data. So this is the place that you see your data. Okay, and then there is something called visualization, just like in Excel charts. So you can see the charts here. So there are different types of charts available. And then within Power BI there are three views. So the report view, where this is the place where you create all your reports and everything, right? And then here we have the data view. So once you load the data into Power BI, just like in an Excel table, you can see the data in here. And then there's something called data model, so which will help you to combine your data within Power BI. So because you are getting data from multiple places, so using the Power BI data model, you can combine your data very easily. Okay, so first of all, okay, before getting the data, um, Moshe, shall we run the second poll as well, right? Just want to see what is the softwares that you are using to get the data.
Sure, sure. Tisara, I think you can.
Yeah, yeah, guys. How you do the reporting in your organization currently? Is it based on Excel or Google Sheets, Tableau, Power BI, or any other? Okay, almost Excel, right? Okay, so the 76% is using Excel and 3% using Google Sheets. Tableau is also using like 3%. Power BI, they're using 3%. and some other software 18%. Okay. Yes, I think most of you are using Excel. So this Power BI also, it's designed for the Excel users. So like if you are coming from Excel, because I'm also a finance guy, so I also came with Excel knowledge, and now I have converted, because once I know the things that I can do with Power BI, which I took 3 4 hours to do, I can do it within 15 minutes with Power BI once you learn the techniques. Okay, I can, yeah, we can close the poll, right? So 74% from Excel, so that's the highest answer. Okay, okay, then today's dashboard I showed you earlier. So this is our final output. So in order to build this report, so I have some data, right? So here I have some data. So some sales data, actually based on some sales data, I'm building the first dashboard. So we have sales information from different countries. So let's say our company is an international company. So we are selling products in different countries, and also our head office is based on US. So we have the sales details from US as well. So, and then we have some information about the main manufacturers that we are dealing with, okay, that we are purchasing our products, and then some of the informations about our products, right? And some location information where we are selling our products, right? So these are the details that we have been provided, right? What we want to do is, using this data, we want to transform this data into a dashboard, Power BI dashboard, right? So after we did this session, we'll be move on to the financial reporting part. So if I try to open that one as well, just to give you some idea what is we are going to do and on the second day. So yes. So this is the financial reporting dashboard, which not the complete dashboard. So we will be learning how to build this P&L within the Power BI. So it's just opening from Power BI. Yeah. So I will show you this how to build this income statement using Power BI. So you can do year by year analysis, right? Current year, last year, year over year change, and change as a percentage. Also, you can add some conditional formatting as well. Month wise month you can analyze, you can see all these KPIs, and you can do this kind of analytics as well. So that's the what we are going to do in the second day. Okay, so I'll just close this just to give you an taste of what we are going to do tomorrow. Okay. Okay, so what I will do is, first of all, I will get some data into the Power BI, right? So in Power BI, so okay, so I will go to this home ribbon. So there's something called home ribbon right here. Can you see? So in the home ribbon, you have something called get data, right? This one. Using this get data, you can get the data into the Power BI, right? So we have Excel, we have SQL Server, analysis services, text files, and also if you click on more, you can see some more details, right? Maybe your data is in SAP, or maybe Azure, or maybe Dynamics, or maybe QuickBooks. Likewise, if your data is in a different source, you can select these things. QuickBooks also there, or else what you can do is you can export your data into Excel, and then using this get data option, you can bring your data into the Power BI. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is, I have some sales files, okay, in my data folder, international sales. So these are in CSV format, right? So what I will do is I will go to Power BI. So based on the type of your data, you have to select the relevant option. Okay, so what my data is in text CSV format. So I will be selecting the text CSV format from here, this one, right? and then I will bring the data. So I need to go to that particular folder where I have my data, right? So I will go to my folder where I have my data. So this is the folder, and so I will no, I will first get not from the folder, so I'll get from the US sales, this one. Okay, that is also a CSV file. So I'll first open that. So this data is relating to the sales about our company, from our company, relating to the US area, right? So it will show you a preview of your data like this. So what you can do is, guys, in Power BI, there is something called Power Query inside Power BI, right? As I mentioned you, this is the place where we do all the cleanings. It's like the kitchen of Power BI. So before we bringing the data into the Power BI, we are bringing it to the this area and we do all the cleanings, because sometimes you are getting the data, when you are getting the data from an ERP system, it's not in a very structured manner. So what you can do is, when I click on this transform data, okay, this button, it will take me to the another window. Okay, it's a separate window which is within Power BI, which we can do all sort of cleaning, data transformations within Power BI. This is so powerful, guys, and the Power Query is so powerful and so easy. Okay, the things that you are taking a number of hours to do in Excel, you can do very easily within this environment. Okay, yes, so I have loaded the first table. It's a sales table. So as a best practice, I usually change the names of the table. So I will rename it as um, sales sales data. Okay, and then here you have the column names, right? So these were the column names which was there in our data. So there is something called like data type in Power BI, right? Because when you are working with Excel, when you have some numbers, okay, when you have some numbers in a column, you can just put a sum function and you can sum it, right? You can just put a sum function and you can sum it. But within Power BI, you cannot do like that, okay? Within Power BI, you have to define the data type. There is something called data type, right? So here, when you click on this next to this each name, you have something called data type, right? So currently it says 1, 2, 3, and date, it's the date type, product ID 1, 2, 3. Likewise, you have a data type. So we have to change this data type. So the zip code, it's not a number, right? I mean, even though it's a number, we are not going to do any calculation using that. So what I will do is I will click on this one. So using this menu, I can change the data type. So we have the decimal number, whole number, date, time, text. So I'll convert it to a text format. Okay. So it is asking me, okay, we have already changed the data type. So do you want to change it? I'll say yes, replace current. So I will give you a small idea about this Power Query as well. Okay. So in Power Query, whenever you loading the data, it will comes to this area, which is the queries pane. Okay. And then here there is something called applied steps within Power Query, which is so much powerful. You can, it's like a macro. You are running a macro in Excel, just like that. Whatever the steps that you are doing, it's getting recorded in here, right? So even if you delete a column, right? Let's say I just right click, remove this column. Can you see, guys, these things getting recorded, right? So if you delete this one, yes, if I change the name, okay, some other name, so what happens? Everything, whatever you are doing, it's getting recorded, right? So if you did something mistakenly, what you can do? You can click on this X out mark, right? And you can go back to that previous stage that you were, right? So I am, because I am just touching the surface on Power Query here, because within 4 hours we cannot cover everything. So I'll try to cover I mean, things much as possible, but I'll be doing a little bit fast pace. Okay. So like this, everything is getting recorded, whatever you are doing. So first thing what I did was I just changed the zip code to ABC. Okay. Then what I will do is I will load. There's a table called BI dimension, which has the information about the in the same table some manufacturers and the locations that we are selling our products and our details about our products, right? So what I will do is I will okay now within Power Query, guys, there's this new source button. This is the same thing that can you remember you when you in Power BI window we click on something called get data, right? It's the same thing, so you can do within Power Query as well. Can you see it in here? The same thing you can do within Power Query as well. So you can click on new source. So I know the starting will be a little bit boring, but we are going to build a dashboard. So we have to do this transformation. So I will just show you some of the transformation that we can do, and then we'll see how we can build the model and then build the dashboard, right? So now I'm going to bring the data from this product BI dimension. It's Excel file. So I select the Excel option. I'll select this file, click on open. So not like text file, so CSV or we call it as flat file, right? When you are getting the data from Excel file, you can see there's something called Navigator, and you can see what are the sheets that you have inside this file. So I have the product table. So when I click on that, I can see a preview of that. Geography, manufacturer's information, right? You can see the preview of that. So what I will do is I will put a tick mark. Unless I put a tick mark, I cannot load that data into Power Query, right? I'll put a tick mark for these three tables. So the product is the same thing, which I have is in a table format. So you might wondering now, okay, so there's one with the one blue line, one with the normal, but it has the same information. This one with the blue lines represent a table. Okay, guys. So in Excel table, if you have Excel table, this is how you can see it within Power BI. And then the sheets, you can see it like this. Okay, so this is the difference between these two, but it has the same data. But it's always better to load your data from a table, because so you uh, you will be loading only the data within that table only, right? If you have some other data in that worksheet, it will not get loaded. So you will get the data only from that table itself. So I'll click on OK, right? Once I click on OK, it will bring that data as well into the Power Query. Okay, then before doing anything, I will load the rest of the data as well. So I have some other data. So we have loaded all these two files. So now I have some sales, okay, international sales. Okay, so I am trying to load this data at once. Okay, what I want is, guys, I want to load this data. So if I open one file, I have country by country sales information. Okay, so if I open this one Excel file, so product ID, the date, zip codes, units, revenue, and the country. So here I have sales information country by country, right? What I want to do is I am getting data from 5 files, right? Maybe it's 20 files, 20 countries, 20 cities, right? It can be anything. So what I'm going to do is I am going to combine this data using Power BI and load that combined data into the Power BI, right? So to do that, guys, very easily I can do it. So what I will do is I will click on new source. There is a source called option called folder, right? Using this folder connection, you can bring whatever the data inside the folder and you can combine it as well. Okay, see what I'm doing now. So I click on more. Once you click on more in the new source, because you can't see that option from the favorite commonly used one, so you can see this one, the folder connection, right? So using this folder connection, I'm trying to connect it to a folder, and whatever the data inside that folder, I will bring it and I can combine it, right? So I can browse to that folder, but usually what I do is I'll go to that folder. I copy the file path from here, right? I copy it, come back to Power BI, paste it, and I'll click on OK, which will ask me, okay, Power Query is saying, okay, there are 7 CSV files in that folder. What do you want to do? So I'll say click on combine and transform data. If I click on that, what will happen? Power Query will automatically, he's doing some he's running some based on one sample file, he's running some queries and he is combining our data, right? You don't need to do anything. I'll click on combine and transform data, this button. Okay, so then Power BI is asking, okay, what should be your sample file, based on which file? Even though you have columns in a different order, it doesn't matter as long as you have the same column names. Okay, so the Power Query is combining these files based on the column name. Okay, and if I click on OK, what will happen? Something running in the background using Power Query. And then can you see, if I click on this filter, so by default Power Query is you can see only one country, because Power Query is there's something called data profiling. He's checking the first 1,000 rows of your data. You have to click on load more always. Okay, it will take some time, and then you will see the all the countries are there here now. Okay, so what you are looking at now is you can remove this column because you don't need the country column, because it's already there in the country column. So you can delete that. Now can you see product ID, date, SIP, units, revenue, country? This is for the all the 7 countries which was there in that folder, right? Power Query very easily combine everything into a one file, right? So it's completely automated. And when you want to, when let's say now new country has added, right? New country has added, and what you want to do? Nothing, guys, very simple. What you have to do is, let's say we have added Sri Lanka. Okay, you have to just drag and drop that file only. Let's say I just created one file called Sri Lanka. Okay, so I'll remove it later, and I'll just change this country name to Sri Lanka, right? Save and close. Okay, then once you go to Power BI, you have to just click on this refresh button only, right? So this button, if you click on this refresh button, what will happen? The data that you just put now in that folder, you will be able to see it in here. Okay, it's loading. Can you see, guys? Sri Lanka is also there, right? If I just select Sri Lanka, so you should see the data for Sri Lanka. Okay, so there's some issue with the zip code. Yeah, okay, I will just remove that filtering what I did now. Okay, so I hope it's clear, right? So likewise you can get data very easily. I will go to that folder. I'll just delete the Sri Lanka from there. Likewise, very easily you can bring the data from a folder. Okay, now you have the sales data. This is the product information, geography, manufacturer, internet sales. Okay, so later this is the sales from our company, right? US sales data, and this is the sales from other countries. I want to combine this and this as well. So before doing that, I want to do some transformation. So I want to do one change in my data. There's something called zip code. So this zip code, I'm going to change it to a text format. Okay, because in this sales data also I change it to text format, right? So if I'm combining these two, I have to change this one as well into the text format. So I click on the column, click on this icon and click on text. So this will convert my data into the text format. So I have product ID, date, SIP, units, revenue, country. Okay, now, okay, then yes, I will do a name change for these tables. Okay, if you want to change the name of a tables, there are multiple ways. You can right click and rename, maybe just double click. Likewise, you can change in any format, right? So I will just rename this one as fact sales, and then this is you might think, okay, why I am renaming as fact and dim? So for the time being, just keep it in your back pocket. So in data modeling world, okay, there are two types of tables, like fact and the dimensions, right? So it's like masters. Dimension is similar to masters, right? Master tables. So geography, I will rename it as dim location, dimension location. This one is also, I'll rename it as dim manufacturer. And then finally, I will rename this as fact sales, INT. Okay, international sales. Okay, then so I'm done with the changes. Then I will move on to this. Okay, sales products. Okay, this is actually not dim sales. It should be dim products. Sorry, guys. Okay, okay. Then I will start with this one. So now, as I told you, Power Query we are using to do the data transformation and all the cleanings, right? So can you see we have product ID, product name, and can you see the product name in that column? We have a segment and the product name, both are in the same column. So I want to split it. Okay, that is one requirement what I have to do. And there's something called category. It's there in the first line only, and all these products are also coming under same mixed category, but these values are null. Null means in Power Query it says blank. Okay, so if you go down, can you see, okay, this is rural category and all these values should come under the rural category even though it's blank. Okay, this one is urban, should come under urban category. And then we have the manufacturer ID, and I have the price column. It's come with the currency, right? So but what I want to do is I want to take out the currency into a separate column and the price into a different column, right? So these are the changes that I want to do, like the cleanings, right? So first of all, in the category column, I want to copy these values to the below cells. So in Power Query, you cannot copy paste anything. Okay, you cannot enter data, but you can do something called fill down. There's an option called fill down in Power Query, which will allow you to copy the top value to the below cells as long as it's null, right? So it will copy this mixed name until this cell, right? And then the rural, this value will get copied to the below cells. Okay, so I'll quickly select this column. So there's a ribbon called transform. Okay, and here there is option called in transform fill. Okay, I'll click on this one. There's option called fill down. Fill up is also there. We can do, what I want to do is fill down. I'll click on that. Can you see, guys, it copied the values in that first cell to the below cells, and it stops here. Then from here it copied down the other values to the, until you find a fill cell, right? So that the step is done, right? Then I want to split these values into two columns, right? The product name in one column, the segment in one column, very easily, because Power Query is super easy. The things you can do very easily. If I want to do that, I'll select this column, click on this split column option, this one, right? There are multiple options by delimiter, lowercase, uppercase. I will select this delimiter option. What I'm going to do is, can you see here there is one delimiter, right? This we call it as the pipe, right? So using this pipe, I can split the values in this column into two columns, right? I click on split by delimiter. So Power Query, he is suggesting me to use the dash. I'll say no, I want to use the pipe sign, this one. And he's asking from the left side or the right side or each occurrence. Since there is only one occurrence, I'll say each or left, anything doesn't matter. So I'll click on OK. Can you see the values has split into two columns now, right? So you can just rename that column as product, and then this will be the segment. Okay, then okay, this one is okay, this one is done. Okay, manufacturer ID is done. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to extract only the price into a separate column, right? You can again do the split column, right? But I want to show you some other technique, okay? Because this Power Query is so much powerful. You can do a lot of transformations very easily. Mm, what you can do is I will select the price column. I will go to this add column and column from example. Using this option, what you can do is you can ask Power Query, please do this for me, right? You can ask a question from Power Query, and Power Query, he will run a formula for you, right? So I'll select column from example based on the, I will say take the selected column, the price column from selection, right? I will say I want to get this value into a separate column. So what you have to do is parallelly to that current row, you have to type whatever you want to extract. So I want to extract this value, right? 412.13, right? When I press enter, can you see Power Query, it has extracted all the values from all the columns, right? Just like this, right? I just given only one example. Sometimes if the requirement is complicated, I mean, you have to give, if it is advanced requirement, you have to give 3, 4 examples. But here, since it is a very simple one, very easily it has taken the data. Then I can click on OK. I can rename it as MRP, max retail price. I will transform that into a fixed decimal number, right? And then from this column, I want to get the currency into a separate column. So I can use the same thing. Or else I can say extract. So here I think only USD is the only currency. So, but let's say we had different currencies, right? Then you can use the same option. Or else there's something called first characters text before delimiter, or from left side you can extract some number of characters. But I will use the same option what I did now from selection. I just want to get the USD, right? When I press enter, it has extracted the USD part, right? Then I can rename this as currency, right? Okay, then I don't need this column anymore. I will remove it. Yes, now I have product ID, product segment, category, manufacturer ID, price, and the currency, right? Everything, what you are doing, everything, it's getting recorded, right? So if you want to go to any stage, right? If you want to delete all this stage, let's say you want to go to beginning, what you have to do, you have to delete all these steps. You can just right click, delete until end, all the steps will get deleted, right? You can go back to your original data. So likewise, Power Query is so powerful. Then okay, in the geography table or the location, this one, okay, this one can you see guys, when I have loaded the data, there is some unwanted 2 rows there on the top, which I don't want, right? So what I will do is in Power Query, you cannot, select a particular row and delete it. You can't do that. But you have option, maybe you can say, okay, top rows, bottom rows. Likewise, you can ask to remove the rows, right? So what you can do is you can select the query. We call it as a query or a table. And then I will go to home ribbon, this one, remove rows, remove top rows, right? And I can say remove the top 2 rows. These 2 rows I don't need, right? So that this one, these 2 rows, right? So I'll say remove rows, remove top rows, 2. I'll press 2 here, click OK. See, it got removed now. Then I want to make this first line, I want to promote it as the header, right? Currently my header is source, public database, not something like that, right? Which doesn't make any sense. I want to make this one as the header. So in the transform ribbon here, okay, there's something called use first row as headers, right? So I'll click on use first row as headers. So first row will become the headers, right? And then in this one also, the zip code, I will change it to text. Okay, replace the current. Yeah. Okay, so I think that looks fine. Okay. Okay. So all good. And then the manufacturer table. So in this table we have the information about the manufacturers. I'm running a little fast, guys, okay? So then what I want to do is from the manufacturer table, I want to remove this last three columns. We'll have the, if you have any questions, we can have it at the end. Okay, so we'll be having like 10-15 minutes for the questions. So the last three rows you can remove from this table, and then what I want to do is manufacturer ID, manufacturer name, logo. Currently it's row by row, right? What I want to do is I want to transpose, right, these row values. I want to put it into three columns, right? So to do that, I will first remove the bottom three rows which I don't want, the null values, right? Remove bottom rows. I'll select three. Okay, then what I want to do, I want to get this row values into the columns, right? So what I will do is there's option called transpose. I think you have heard about it in Excel. Transpose. Click on that. Can you see my data is transposed to the rows to the columns, right? Then I will promote this header, the first line, just like the previous one, as the headers. Okay, perfect. Then we have the international sales. Okay, and the this sales. Only thing now what I have to do, guys, is I have to combine, because sales data, even though it's international and this sales, I want to combine all the sales data. So when you are working with data modeling, so similar type of data, always try to keep it in a one file, right? What I want to do is I want to combine these two into one file, right? So but the problem is I have product ID, date, SIP, units, revenue. Here product ID, date, SIP, units, revenue, and the country is also there, right? Units, revenue, same order. Let's say I just move, you can move the columns like this, okay? Let's say I just move the revenue to this side. Now the column order is different, right? Product ID, revenue, date in this table. Here it's product ID, date, SIP, units, revenue, country. Even though we have a different column order, it doesn't matter. Power Query is very intelligent, okay? He knows how to get the, based on the name, how to combine your data. Okay, so there is something called append queries. So I'll just show you what is append. Okay, append queries means using this append queries option, you can combine two tables, guys. So you have one table with ABC, another table with ABD. So these are the column headers. So you can combine these two tables into one table. So in our example, we want to combine the international sales and the US sales, right, into one file. So whenever he's combining, if you have a matching value, he will combine it as one, right? So A and A matching, so he will combine. B and B matching, he will combine, right? Like this. But C, is there a matching? No, so he will get the C and put null. He says no, no matching values. Then he will go to the next table, get the D, he will put it in here and he'll say no, I don't have any matching values from the first table. Likewise, even though there is no any matching values, he will do the combination, right? So he's very intelligent, because I can remember before I'm using the Power BI, I had to do something like this like 10 years, 8 years back, right? I had to run macros, I had to do so much of things. So because different columns, but within Power Query, within one single click, you can do these things very easily, right? So what I will do is I will just select this sales table, any table, right? And then I have option called append queries, this one on the top, right? And then I'll click on that one. So using this option, I can combine the queries, right? So I'll click on append queries. So the same table I will append. Two tables, yes, tables to append. Uh, This is the sales table currently selected. So fax sales international. Click on OK. What will happen? Now in this table, you have appended the data coming from this table. If you're not sure, I'll click on the filter, right? Now you should see the countries which is coming from this table, right? Australia, Japan, Germany, Mexico, all the countries are there. And since I didn't have the country column in my sales table, what happened? For the sales table, it has added a new column. I mean, when he's appending, combining, he has added a new column, but he has put null, right? For the USA, for my current file. Okay, now what I can do? I can replace the nulls with USA because I know I didn't have a country column in my this table. So because of that, that's why I'm seeing nulls here in the country column, because country column came from this table only, right? So simply I can replace the nulls with USA, or else I will show you a different technique, okay? Just for your knowledge. So there is something called add column, conditional column. So you can use the if then statement. Using if then statement, you can create a conditional column within Power BI, right? So I will click on that, right? What is my condition? I will say this is my country 2. I will rename it as the country 2, the column name. If the country is equal to null, right? If the country value in this country column, row by row, the value, if it is equals to null. So it's null in the US file, right? The main sales file. If it is null, I will say put USA. Otherwise, for the other column, because other rows, when you are getting the data from the international sales table, you have that particular country, right? Japan, Germany, likewise. Then I will say there is an option called, you can click on this small arrow here. Can you see that? So you can click on this small arrow, and then you can click on select a column, and you can say take whatever the value in that country column, right? It's the same value. So if I say okay, okay, so what will happen? Whenever there's a null, you will see at USA. Otherwise, if there's some value in the current row, it will take that whatever the current value, right? So if I expand this, now you should see all the countries in here in this list. See, Australia, Canada, Germany, Japan, Mexico, Nigeria, and USA as well. Right, now we don't have nulls. So I will remove this column, and this one I will rename it as country. I will change the data type. Always this in when we are working with Power BI, we have to worry about this data type. Okay, I'll change it to text. Okay, so this one now I don't want this table right now. Okay, now this data it's in Power Query, right? So this is a different window, guys. You might think, okay, we are in Power BI. So Power BI is a different window, and the Power Query is a different window. See, two different windows. Now we are in Power Query. We have all this data. In Power BI, there's nothing now because still we are in the kitchen, right? We are still in the Power Query. So I have to send the data. Now I have cleaned everything from kitchen to dining. So I have to send this data from Power Query to the Power BI. To do that, what I will do, I'll click on close and apply. There's a button called close and apply within Power Query. I'll click on that. What will happen? All the organized data we can send it to Power Query. Okay, yeah, so it will take some time. So and then it's uh it's loading to the Power Query, right? So it's keep loading because the sales file it has some data, so it's taking some time. Fact sales, the manufacturer, the location, products, and sales. Okay, Okay, it's Germany, India, Japan. Actually, I'm loading two queries. I will show you. There's a small issue now. Issue in the sense, I want to show you. That's why I just load the data. So these CSV files contain a lot of data. That's why it's taking a little bit of time to send it to the Power BI. I think maybe 200, 300 MB megabytes of data. But if you're trying to work in a 100 MB file in Excel, you know what's the struggle. But within Power BI, you don't have that problem. Just take some time, that's it, but you can load it without any problem. I'll show you the errors as well. Okay, now you have location, manufacturer, product, sales, and sales INT. So this is the same thing, right? We combine to the fact sales the INT sales as well, right? That means I don't need to load that into the Power BI, right? I'm doing, because I'm duplicating my data if I'm loading that. So first of all, I will go back, and before that, I will just show you. This is the data view where you can see the data in table mode. See, just like in Excel table, you can see your data now. And this is that model view which I told you, where we need to create the relationships and everything, right? Which we haven't done anything. And then this is the report view where we going to use the build reports, right? I will go back to the Power Query because this one I don't want to load it to the Power BI, right? This is not something that's supposed to come to the Power BI. So I'll click on transform data. Okay. If I don't want to load something from Power Query to Power BI, so like this one, international sales, I don't want to send it to the Power BI, right? I can right click on that. There is something called enable load, right? That means if I remove the tick mark here, what will happen? Say possible data loss, that's okay. That's the a default message that you are getting. Now it's turned to italic format. It's not getting loaded to the Power BI now, right? So, and also, so this data, even though it's there in Power Query, it will not get loaded to the Power BI now. So I'm loading only this table. And I saw there were some errors in one file. Okay. Okay. So as I told you at the beginning, if you can remember, the column profiling, it's based on first 1,000 rows. Can you see here? So what I want to do is I want to change it to the entire data set because I saw some errors were there. So here on the top you can see some messages, right? So that what it's doing is it's analyzing your data, right? I think it will take some time, so I'll just based on first 1,000 rows, country, units, zip code, date. Hmm, not sure what was exactly the error. No worries, I'll continue. Okay, I'll click on close and apply. So now again it will take some time to load, but it will not load the international sales. Can you see? It's not there. Now we have only the location, manufacture, products, and sales only. Okay. Then I will go to the model view. Okay. So there are some relationship by default. Some relationships are there, right? So I will just remove these things. Okay. So to do that, I'll go to manage relationships, select everything, delete. Okay. So I just want to delete everything and I will keep it like this. Okay. Now what you see is that this is the data model in Power BI, just like in Access database. So this is the data model, and these are the individual tables that you have, right? In the report, you can see the tables, right? This is the metadata. We call it as metadata, the columns, and then in the data view, you can see the individual tables, right? What I want to do is, okay, let's say I want to analyze sales. Okay, from sales table I'm getting the revenue, right? So I'll bring that column into here, revenue, right? You can see the revenue now. I will convert that into this matrix visual, this one. It's like a pivot table in Excel. Okay, I'll click on this one. And then I will put from the location table countries into the rows here. Okay, drag and drop. So I'm just dragging and drop fields from here to here, right? And revenue came from this one to this one. Likewise, I'm just putting the fields. So when I put the fields, can you see? I'll just click on a one chart like this. Okay, I can just click on a chart and I can simply convert it to a visual. Now, country by country, I'm seeing the revenue, but it's wrong actually. It's the same value, right? It's a flat chart. If I so when you sometimes when you are looking at a visual, it's really hard for you to understand it. So what I do is always I will click on this matrix where I can see the data. So I'll click on that. Okay, it's actually it's showing me the same number for all the countries. So basically, the total revenue is showing for all the countries. The reason is, guys, there is something called data model, but inside the data model, in order to work properly, you have to have relationships, right? You don't have relationships now. These are set of individual tables. They don't know anything about each other right now. It's like these are individual islands, right? They don't know anything about each table. What you have to do is you have to create something called a relationship, right? Or else you have to connect these two tables. So how we do that connection? By using the common column. Just like you are running a VLOOKUP, you have to identify the common column between these two tables. Okay. Products and sales, I think the product ID. So these things you need to know, okay, when you are working with the data. You need to know about your data. So what you will do, you will just select, drag and drop on top of the product ID. What will happen? It will create a relationship. Now it's like these two tables is like one table now, right? So now we have combined. It's like we are just combining the two tables. Now it's like a one table. Now, if the product tab ID is in the same table and the sales also in the same table, you will get the result without any problem, right? So like that, if I go to the report, can you see? So sorry, I wanted to combine the country. So country, this one, right? So I will just do the country to country, right? So there's an error, but I will just say okay, okay. Can you see now? I'll just convert it to a different visual. Can you see? Now, earlier you saw the same number, but after I create the relationship for each country, now you are seeing the correct sales amount, right? Country by country, you are seeing at the correct sales amount just because of you create the relationship. Okay. So now, likewise, we have to create some relationships. Okay. So using relationships, what we are doing? We are combining our tables just like we are bringing everything into a one table. Like we are not physically bringing all the tables into one, but using these lines or the relationships, we are doing that. Okay. So I have to create few relationships. Products I have to connect with sales, and manufacturer ID I cannot connect with sales, but I can connect manufacturer to the products, and then product I can connect to the sales. Likewise, you can create chain relationships. Okay, for the time being I will just do it, but these things we have to go like explain in detail. So if you so in our full course we are covering all these things, but for the time being I will just show you to create this relationship. Since we don't have much time, I will just create the relationship. Okay, so using this connection, what happens is manufacturer is connecting to the products, product is connecting to the sales. Okay, if I delete this, okay, I'll try to show you a small thing. Instead of Australia, I will put manufacturer ID, right? Currently, manufacturer ID is there. or the manufacturer name, right? Name is there, but sales, right? Manufacturer and sales, but it's a flat line again, right? Same value, right? Now in the model, what I'm doing, I am connecting manufacturer to the manufacturer ID to the products, right? These two tables I'm connecting. I didn't connect directly to the sales, but these relationship, these lines, they are interconnecting now. Interconnected means these three is like a one table now because you have connections, right? See? Then what will happen if you go to your report? You can see the based on manufacturer, you can see the sales based on the each manufacturer, right? Because even the sales revenue coming from sales table, manufacturer data is coming from manufacturer table. Once you create the relationship, it will get linked. Okay. Then location to the sales. Okay. So this one we cannot connect. Okay. In order to connect this, we have to, because in this relationship, guys, there's something called one to many, many to one. So always all the relationship which is coming from our dimension. I know this topic little bit complicating you, but I will just do it. Okay, you can watch the video and understand it. So because I'm not explaining everything from detail, so this is like a 30-hour session. I'm just trying to, squeeze to 4 hours. So now the there should be some unique values, right? When you are connecting these two tables, one side should have unique values. So here, products and sales, you see one here because I have product ID only unique values. Here you are connecting manufacturer ID and manufacturer ID. This side you have only unique manufacturer IDs. But here, if I go to this location table, country I have multiple times, see, in the location as well as sales. Even the zip code, right? Zip code is also I have same zip code multiple times in both the tables. In that case, what I will do is for the relationship purpose, I am creating a new column in my location table. Okay, this one. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to show you how to use some DAX. So before that, I want to show you one slide. Okay, so this is how relationships is work. Okay, I mean, just try to get some idea. Like, let's say I want to know category A, from category A, year 2018 sales I want to know. So category A is coming from one table. It will filter the products related to category A, see. Then that will filter will flow to this table and it will select the category A, right, which is the product ID 3. And then from this table, we say year 2018, so it's getting highlighted here, and that the final result will be 11, which is coming from these two filters. I know it's not that easy to understand, so since we do not have much time, I'm doing it little faster. So this is the concept actually on these filters. The filters are flowing and then end up in our filtering our this fact table, right? So that's how we are arriving at this number 11 result, because from this side we are selecting 2018 only, from this side we are taking only 3. Okay, 18 only we are taking 1 and 3, but ultimately since we not need to take only 18, we have to take only this answer, right? That is how the filters are flowing. Sorry. Then mm, 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 mm. Okay, then in the DAX, okay, so the formula language which is in Power BI, so we can do two things. One is we can create new columns in your table, okay, and then you can create something called measures in your table, okay, in your data. So column is something like this, using a formula just like Excel functions. You can create columns in your table, okay, and measures are something like this. You will say, right, okay, I want to get the total sales, total revenue. Likewise, total orders. Likewise, you can get some result, scale, single value at the end. Okay. So my idea is not to train you how to do measures, how to calculate columns, nothing. Okay, guys, because I'm just scratching the surface and I'm doing very high level. Okay, all these things. Okay, then I will go to this model. What I will do is I will create a new column. Okay, in the location table, I will create a new column called zip. I'm trying to combine the zip code and the country, which will ultimately give me unique values, because for country by country we have unique zip codes. So if I combine these two, it will give me a unique value, unique column. Zip and country, right? So I will just increase the formula. So I'm writing DAX. So this is the DAX, guys. Okay. So I'm just doing a concatenate formula. So what I can do is I can zip, and using the and sign, I can combine with the country. So UNTRY, country column, right? Press enter, it will create a new column which combines the zip and country. So I'll do the same thing in this sales table as well. I'll create a new column, zip and country. So zip I am combining with country. Okay. Zip country column I have in here as well. Okay. Now what I'll do is I am trying to create a relationship between these two tables, because I have that new column that I just created. I will drag and drop on top of this one, and I'm creating a relationship. Now the modeling part is done. I have built my relationship. So all my values are coming from sales. So these values I can control using these three tables now. Okay. So I can drag and drop a year, right? Like this. I can select a particular year. So my results getting changed. So likewise we can do. Okay. Okay. Before that, hmm, okay. Now what we do is I will just look at sales by country. Okay. So I'm looking at sales by country, right? So then, okay, since I have the relationship already I have built, I can look at my sales by country, right? Let's say I want to see for each country who are the manufacturers, right? From each country. So to do that, I want to just slice this US value for each manufacturer. So I'll just manufacturer take, and I will drag and drop into the legend, right? And I will make it a stack column chart. I just click on this one and I'll change it. Okay. Now my chart is looks very busy, right? Because there are a lot of manufacturers out there in my company. So when I'm looking at my visual, it doesn't look, it's really hard to get an insight from this visual, right? So what I will do is let's say I want to get only the top 5 manufacturers, right? So I want to get only the top 5 manufacturers, right? To do that, what I will do is I will select this visual. So there is something called filters, right? So in Power BI, filters means using these filters, you can filter the values in a particular visual. So there's something called filters on the visual, filters on the page, and filters on the all pages, filters on the complete report. So filters on the visual means these filters will applicable for only this particular visual, right? And if you are creating a filter on the page, means that filter will applicable for the whole page. That means whatever the visual you put, it is applicable for all the visuals in that image, in that visual. And filters on all pages means whenever, filters means guys, it will filter your data. Like let's say you want to filter this for 2016, you can filter for 2016, right? So one way is to do is you can just Drag and drop here into here, and let's say you want to look at just 2016, you can select this 2016. So this is a filter. Now we are looking at 2016 data. Likewise, you can bring 2016 into this, select the visual and bring it here, and from here also you can select just the 2016. Okay, currently I can't see the years, but from here also you can do the same thing. Okay, okay. Let's say my requirement is I want to show only the top 5, right? So to show the top 5, what I will do is I will expand these filters, this pane, and I will drag the manufacturer name right in here. At the fields here, at data fields here, I'll drag the manufacturer name. Then using that field, I can create a filter. So what I will do is there are 3 filters basically: advanced filtering, basic filtering, and top pane, right? So I will select the top pane. What this will allow me to do is I can tell Power Query, okay, select the top 5 manufacturers. By what? I can say maybe by profit, by revenue. So I'll say okay, by revenue, right? Then if I click on apply filter, what will happen? Can you see? My visual, it's got changed, right? Just to show the top 5 manufacturers: Aliki, Koros, Natura, Piram, and Van Asdale. So in this visual, what I'm seeing at now, not all the manufacturers, just the top 5, right? So this is sometimes our requirement, right? Because now you can get some insight. Okay, Van Asdale, our company. So that's we are having the biggest portion. Then the Aliki, Karas, Natura, Piram, accordingly they have the uh, other portions, other contributions, right? Okay, then there is something called natural language query. That means within Power BI, using simple English, you can ask questions. Okay, so let's say the same thing, rather than bringing it from beginning, what you can do, sometimes the senior managers, they don't know how to, directors and all, they don't know how to create all these visuals in Power BI. What you can do, there is a visual called Q&A, right? So using this one, I will just click on this one, it will create a visual. I will type a question. So I'm going to achieve the same thing what I did through the visual using this method. Okay, uh, top 5 top 5 manufacturer. I'll write the correct spelling. Top 5 manufacturer by revenue and by country, right? Yeah, country. In the column type is stacked column chart, right? So what happens is Power BI using the AI is reference to the fields in your data, and he's generating the report. Can you see? It has generated the same report, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top 5. Okay. So no, I want to get it by top 5 manufacturer by revenue by country. Top 5 country by revenue by manufacturer. I will type manufacturer here. Manufacturer. Right? See? So I can get the same result in this chart as well. What I did was I just write the requirement in Q&A, and it is generating me the same chart, right? So if you want, you can click on this one and you can use this visual as your fixed chart. Click on this and you can convert it to a fixed chart, right? So likewise, you can easily do it using this Q&A visual as well. I will delete that. So the same result you can generate like that, and using this visuals, the Q&A option as well. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I will drag and drop the dates here, okay, and then revenue again to this chart, and then I will convert it to column chart. Okay, now let's say the year by year revenue as well. I just drag and drop this date into the axis, the revenue into the values, right? I'm running a little fast, I know. So what I want to show is here the sales also for the top 5, but it's only I did it for this one, right? I didn't do it for this one because what I did in these filters, so there are 3 types of filters, right? Filters on the visual, filters on the page, filters on all pages. So if I want to apply whatever the top 5 filter that I did in here to this one as well, I have to create a filters on the page or else the page level filter, right? So to do that, what I will do is there is an option called grouping. Okay, so using this grouping option, I can say, okay, take top 5 manufacturers and then put it into filter. And also let's say my requirements is I want to see the others as well in a separate group. Once I separated the top 5, I want to see the others in a separate group, right? So in that case I can say, so I will create 3 groups. Okay, to create the groups, what I will do is I'll go to the manufacturer. Can you see these 3 dots here? So I'll click on the 3 dots. I will click on this new group. Okay, uh, then yes, what I will do is I am trying to group my manufacturers, right? So here when I click on the grouping, I can see my manufacturers. What I can do, the top 4, Aliki, Karas, Natura and Piram. So these ones I will Natura and Piram. These 4 I will take it as my top competitors, right? Aliki, Karas, Natura and Piram. So I can select these values. So these are the manufacturers which was here. I will click on group and I will rename it as top 4 competitors, and then my company, which is Van Asadale, I will group it separately as Van Asadale, and then rest of the manufacturers I will group it into a other group. To do that I can click on include other group in my table, right? So I click on that, so it will create another group called other by putting all the other countries, right? I will click on OK. What it will do is it will create a grouping like this, right? Now what I can do is, even though I can remove this manufacturer grouping from here, right? And what I can do is I can put this grouping into the page level, right? And then I can say, okay, top 4 Van Asadel, right? Now it's applicable for the whole page. So all the visuals in my page will get filtered accordingly. So maybe I come here, even if I remove this one, nothing will change because now what I create was a page level filter which is applicable for all the visuals. Okay, then um okay, then let's say when you have some visuals like this, you want to do a presentation in your company, right? So when you want to do a presentation, so you can click on the 3 dots. Okay, you can, let's say if you want to just export this data into Excel sheet, only this one, you can click on export data, right, which will export that data into Excel file. And also you can, when you are doing a presentation, you can click on show table and you can show your data along with the visuals, right? You can click on this icon and you can transform, and also you can sort it by different fields, and also you can go to the focus mode like this. And also when you hover your mouse on the filters, you can see what are the filters in this visual as well. And also let's say you want to know for particular data point how this value has been created, you can click on that. You can click on show data point as a table. See, For that particular selection, you will see all the data in here, right? And then you can do some AI based analysis, like you can select this one, you can say analyze, find where the distribution is different. Likewise, automatically Power BI using the artificial intelligence, he will generate you some visuals and he will tell you, okay, these are the reasons for the drop in sales or the increase in sales. Likewise, he will tell you. Okay. Okay. Then okay, then what I want to show you is okay, I will try to do one more thing, so then we can go for the Q&A. So I will try to add one chart here. So I have now revenue by manufacturers. I will try to add one chart like year by year revenue, right? I will convert it to a visual. Now within Power BI, by default, when you are selecting a visual, it's interacting together, right? Based on your selection. So if you select here, all are interconnected, right? So, but you can change this interaction, right? So when you're selecting this one, if you don't want to change this one, what you can do is you can select this visual, you can go to this format section, edit interactions, and you can disable this, right? So whenever you are selecting this visual, now this chart is not getting changed. Same way, you can select this one and then you can see based on your selection whatever you want to happen. Maybe you want to filter, highlight, or none. So there are three options. None means you will not do anything whenever you are clicking on here. Highlight means you will keep the same chart and highlight the particular portion. Filter means, guys, whenever you select that, it will show you only the relevant data for that particular selection, Van Asdale, Australia. Likewise. Okay, so if I select highlight, see, it will, based on your selection, it will highlight. Okay. Mm, okay. Then finally, before we go to the Q&A, I will just quickly show you there is something called time intelligence. Like using Power BI, you can do year by year calculations like revenue growth, last year to compare current year, what is the sales growth, year over year change. So to do those things, you have to create a something called date table, right? So I will show you because we don't have a specific table called dates, but it is required when it comes to do those time intelligence calculations, right? So I will quickly go to this data view, right? And I will click on home, new table, right? And still we didn't start the visualization, guys. So I will just show you the date table, like how to create the dates table. So to do that, I have to use some function called calendar, right? This function has two parameters. Using this function, what I can do is I can create a date table, a column with dates between two dates, given dates. So I will say date 2014 January 1st. When you are creating these dates tables, guys, always you want to put the dates as per your data. Let's say you are analyzing sales from 2014 to 15, 14 to 20. You have to have the dates from 14 to 20. Okay, so in this case, in this model, I have the data from 2014 till 2019, I guess. So I have to create my date table as well using the formats like this until 2019 December 31st. So I have to have the dates from the beginning of the year till the end of the year from 2014 to 19, right? So it's creating me a date column. So using this date column, I can now add more values like months, years to the same table, right? So I can add using, there's a function called add columns. I will just show you that. Okay, guys, I know it's it's not something that you can grab using just looking at these formulas. So add columns, and then I will um, add, okay, month will be the using, there's a function called month, and I will get the date of from this particular date, and then month name, so which will be the, I will use a function called format date in month format, and then again I will take the year using the year function from the date value. Okay, so what I will do is, using this function, I just add the month name and year into my table. Okay, then now I have a date table. So anytime when I'm creating a date table, any table, what I need to do, I have to create the relationships, right? So date, I will connect with the date, and I will create this relationship, and I will connect the tables, right? So now using a date field, I can analyze my data, right? So any fields from this date table, using that one, I can see, okay, year by year revenue, like this, right? Year by year revenue like this. Okay. Okay. Mm, okay, so I feel like before moving further, Murshid, shall we go for the Q&A, if there is any Q&A, because the next part I'm planning to do tomorrow. I know it was very fast, so maybe it's really hard for you to grab what I did, but
Uh, no, Kasun, thank you very much. Although you haven't gone to the full details, it was really informative session that for us, because we were not having a proper idea how it will be helpful for our day-to-day work, Power
yeah,
BI. But surely this has given an idea how the Power BI can help us in data analysis,
yeah,
and how it can actually reduce our workload, and how we can do the visualization in a more ideal way. So thank you very much, Kasun.
yeah,
It's really informative, and it really gave us a hint how to why we have to use the Power BI for our day-to-day work.
yeah.
So if audience have any questions, actually you can type the questions in the chat box, or you can raise your hand in Zoom, so we can
Yeah.
unmute you to ask the questions. But now, so far we have a couple of questions from the audience, so I will read them.
Okay.
So there's one question asking, Kasun, can we download the Power BI from Microsoft website free of charge? And do we
Yes.
need to have the licensed version of Microsoft for this?
No. So actually there are two versions. So the version that I use is the desktop version. So you can download it freely. You can just Google Microsoft Power BI desktop file. It's free. So you can download it and you can do all these things. Only thing is when it comes to the sharing, right? Just like we are sending a Excel in an email to our colleagues, we don't send a Power BI file. So we have to do something called publish, which will go to your cloud account, and from there another person who is having the Power BI license, you can share the report. So to build the report you don't need anything, you can freely download.
Oh, great. And Kasun, in that case, is it possible us to export whatever the visualized graphs into Excel without the license, or is still the same
And
limitation is applies to it?
yeah, the visualization you cannot send from Power BI to Excel because these are
Okay.
advanced. I mean, this Power Excel cannot handle these visualizations. Only thing is, once you build a model or anything, you can send it to Excel just for the analysis, like as a pivot table, as a data set. You can analyze the data, but you cannot get the visualizations into Excel.
Okay. Okay. So the even the data image we can't copy into my
No, no.
PowerPoint presentation or anything. So to a slide.
That we can not from the. You can actually, there is a free version, like you can get the Power BI license, the free version, which is only you can see your report. You cannot send it to anyone. So you
Okay,
can go to
okay,
your service account, you can look at it, you can export to PowerPoint, PDF. So you can do all sort of things, but you cannot share it online with anyone.
okay. Wonderful, wonderful.
Oh.
And there's another question from Rimzan, and
Mhm.
he's asking whether Power BI can be integrated with data sets from Google Sheets, thus help us to create live or real-time dashboards.
Exactly. So whenever if you have data in your maybe cloud or Google Sheets or anything, you can bring that data into Power BI. So only thing is to get the real-time data because always you have to click on this refresh button. Then only that connection will get refreshed again. But what you can do is there's something called gateway connection which we have to create in the backend to your Google Sheets or whatever the source. So then automatically every 4 hours, every 8 hours, your data will get automatically refreshed and get the real-time data. So likewise, you can do that.
Wonderful. I think Rimzan would have cleared his doubt.
Yeah.
And there's another question asking, do we need to do the data shaping every time when we import the raw data from ERP?
No, that's the best thing with Power BI. So once you do it, anything in Power BI, it's one-time work, right? So initially you are doing all the transformations only that's it, right? Once you do it, you can just drag and drop, or maybe if it is coming from directly from ERP, you can just refresh the button. That's it. So month end, all these hectic works, you don't need to do again and again. It will completely automated.
Wonderful. So that means all you had to do the first time work, and then
Yes,
everything will be generated automatically in
yes.
subsequent uploads. Great,
Yeah, as
great,
long as
great,
the data is same or I mean it's as there are no any structural changes, yes.
great, 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 great. And one more thing, Kasun,
Yeah.
is it possible as to insert calculated fields in Power BI? Oh,
Yes, just like that, yes. We have them something called measures. Actually, I'll try to run some measures maybe the next day in the beginning. Then
okay,
quickly we'll try to visualize it and then we have to do the first hour. I will try to do that part. Then in the second hour we can move for the financial reporting part, which I'll plan to run. So tomorrow I can show that.
okay, okay. So this means like apart from the data, we should be able to get the information, informative fields from the Power BI itself.
Yes, exactly. You can do any sort of calculations. So, what I say is, if you think of any calculations, like let's say in a particular month, you want to see what's the drop in sales or who are the dropped customers and how much revenue we have dropped. What is the likewise, you can think of anything. You can do any of these things using the DAX.
Okay. And another question is asking, can we download the Power BI from Microsoft website? Okay. Do we need to have? Okay, I think I have read this. Okay, I think I have read this. Okay. Uh, okay. And other question is, can Kasun recommend a company in Sri Lanka who provide training in Colombo?
Okay, actually, since it is virtual, I'm really not sure about the companies, but I do like if you are someone, you guys are based in Sri Lanka. So who is based in Sri Lanka? I can do a virtual trainings because at a reduced rate. So I think for the CA members also we are going to give a big discount. So likewise, you guys can maybe contact Qatar chapter through them. You can come to me. So I will let you know these details.
So, audience, I think you all have a great opportunity to learn the Power BI at a discounted rate from Kasun, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. For and yes, I think if anyone want my details, I think you can get it from the Qatar chapter. Sorry, Kuwait chapter.
Sure,
So
sure, 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 sure.
so
Of course, we have the details. Yeah, if
yeah.
anyone is interested, of course, you all can contact us. So, audience, any other questions you all have? I think, yeah, that's okay. Okay, and one more question
Yeah.
from Nadish Lakmal. It's please brief how SAP HANA database linked to Power BI. What are the IT requirements?
SAP HANA actually to connect, you have to get some from IT. You have to get some resources. So Not the connector is there already, but I think you have to connect a ODBC connection. There's something called ODBC, so which I will not be able to show you now, but through the ODBC connection, you have to create to the SAP HANA database. It's not very direct connection. You cannot directly connect to the SAP HANA. Through a ODBC, there's something called ODBC connection. You have to use that to connect to the SAP HANA database. After that, you can get the data through that source.
Great,
It's
great.
not easy to explain here.
Okay, okay, great. So I think yes, I believe that's all the questions, and even the time is running out. And thank you, Kasun. Thanks a lot
Yeah,
again for the informative session that you have given. And I think everybody got some idea about Power BI and how it will be useful to your day-to-day work. Thank you very much. And I want to remind you again about tomorrow's session. The tomorrow's session is about financial reporting. It's very much relevant for the finance professionals. You can the session will start at 4 p.m. and you can access the session with the same link what we have provided today. So please join us. And also we have a quiz session tomorrow. And as I mentioned earlier, the winner will be awarded with a 30-minute
30 hours.
training session with Kasun free of charge. So that's going to be an interesting session. So please do join tomorrow. And the questions will come from the today's and tomorrow's session. And as a hint, I will tell you, like, please have 2 devices. So it will be really help you to answer quickly, and you will have more chance to win the competition.
Yes.
So that's the end of today's session. Thank you very much to your audience. And thanks for your cooperation. And I do expect to see you again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So until that time, good night and bye.